I just finished watching episodes 3 and 4 of The Baldwins, and let me tell you, this show is something else. There are generally some aspects that I enjoy, mostly because they're surprisingly honest about the chaos in their lives, but their rebuttal is shameless.
Social media used to be more fun, and then it just got to a point where I think that people started getting attention for being very toxic.
Hi everyone, I'm Star Chairs, and in this channel, we analyze videos through the lens of PR. This video contains personal commentary based on publicly available information, including subscription content. It's intended solely for entertainment and educational purposes. Opinions expressed are my own and should not be considered factual allegations. Viewers are encouraged to do their own research and form their own conclusions. Okay, so I have to admit, Alec Baldwin generally appears to have evolved, or he could just be a great actor, right? But watching him, you get the feeling that he's a man who's reflected on the past mistakes and generally regrets them and is actively working to do better. I do respect that kind of growth, if it's real, of course, because real forgiveness isn't about empty promises or empty apologies. It's about genuinely changing your behavior. And as humans, we know changing our behavior is one of the most difficult things to do, and only time will tell. But then we have the star of the show. There's Hilaria, and they continue throughout the entire show, the entire season, putting Hilaria and not Hillary, which is kind of annoying. But it's pretty obvious why they have this reality show in the first place. Alec continuously emphasizes wanting a quiet life away from the spotlight. Yet, here's his wife, actively pulling him into the center stage. Hillary during the show says Alec has been through immense stress because of his legal troubles and their 7 children, and conveniently forgetting to include herself in the list of stressors because clearly she sees herself as entirely blameless. Classic. Does it remind you of anyone? Then, in a scene straight out of a PR nightmare textbook, Hillary suggests therapy for their stress. My goodness, therapy is great. I support it wholeheartedly. But who on earth thought it was a good idea to film it? They allow cameras to capture their therapy session, or at least the first one. Like, what? Actual therapy sessions? Alex says he wants privacy. Hillary claims that she dislikes attention, yet here they both are, putting their most private moments on public display. It's a literal complete contradiction. This is what I'm saying. Alec could just be an amazing actor, because this is like saying you're allergic to drama, yet you're lighting the fuse to a drama bomb. Contradiction at its best. Now, as someone who's attended therapy, let me assure you, these are not moments you want to broadcast for public consumption. This is either a desperate cry for attention or just the obvious pure narcissism. Either way, it's uncomfortable and deeply disturbing to watch. And speaking of disturbing, Hillary's accent is still very much alive in this series. And well, it's sad. She constantly fluctuates between her fake accent and this unbearable baby voice. Oh, like it's horrible, which honestly, it feels like auditory torture.
Yes. Yeah. The crow died.
Nails on a chalkboard would be an upgrade at this point. She desperately tries to come across as intellectual and deep. Man, does this not remind you of Meghan Markle? But the more she tries, the faker she seems. Every time she opens her mouth, you can practically hear viewers rolling their eyes. And yet, she is entirely committed. She's stubbornly sticking to this fake persona with unrelenting determination. She generally doesn't care. She doesn't care about anyone calling her out. She has zero remorse and zero self-awareness. It's almost impressive how committed she is to this performance. Believe it or not, it gets worse. In one of the cringiest scenes yet, Hillary uses a 15-year-old to justify her accent charade. Watch.
So you've lived in so many different places. Is it weird when people hear how you talk and then they just assume that you're going to be super British, and you're like, no, not at all.
Yeah. My accent changes when I'm around my friends, I think. Depends how they speak. With my British friends, I think I sound more British.
So, this poor teen who generally lived in multiple countries describes her accent naturally changes based on their environment. Hillary instantly sees this as a chance for validation, eagerly telling the teen, "So, you lived in many different places? It is weird when people assume you're British." The teen explains, quite reasonably, that her accent shifts depending on context.
I feel it's weird if I'm like speaking like American.
Yeah.
But then if I'm with like my American friends, I'm like, oh, it sounds kind of weird if I'm just British.
Yeah.
Then, in a deeply unsettling moment, Hillary turns to the camera and proclaims dramatically into a lecture about code switching, acting as if she's discovered the term code switching.
Growing up in a way where you have multiple cultural influences on you means that you're never going to be able to fit in. You can try, you can chameleon. You know, people who code switch were very good at chameleoning in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit, and you're not even thinking about it. It's just normal, it's just natural.
Saying growing up in multiple cultural influences means you'll never fit in. Like, what the what?
They say that it's like communication, like people who, if you ever talk to like a really old person who cannot hear,
Yeah.
and you have to like, you
have to,
notice,
like,
you're like, I'm going to emphasize,
Yes.
I'm going to speak slower, and you're not even really thinking about it, you just start to do it.
It just
No,
happens.
it's not, it just happens. You know what it's called? Code switching.
Actually,
Code switching, No, it's like a real thing.
I did not know that.
I know, I had to learn about it because the whole world was like mean to me, and so I had to learn it. It's code switching.
She explains code switching by comparing it to talking louder and slower to an elderly person who can't hear. And then the kicker, I had to learn about code switching because the whole world was mean to me. It's a real thing. Yes, Hillary, we know it's a real thing. We also know that's not what you're doing, Hillary. Like, what the what? Really, she is super frustrating. Let's clarify something really important here, because clearly Hilaria Baldwin needs a detailed breakdown. Code switching is absolutely a real and legitimate phenomenon. It's incredibly common among genuine bilingual and multicultural people. People who grow up speaking multiple language, like many of you in the comment section that I have read, and myself, people who grow up speaking multiple languages or live across different cultures naturally adapt their language and mannerisms depending on the social context they're in. It's often subconscious. You're not actively trying to pretend. You're just naturally responding to the cultural or social cues around you. However, let's get this straight. Code switching does not include intentionally dressing up in stereotypical culture attire like Hillary does, conveniently forgetting also basic English words like cucumber or onion, or completely fabricating a cultural heritage to appear exotic or interesting. That's not adapting. That's straight up deception. It's cultural cosplay, pure and simple. And Hilaria Baldwin appropriating the concept of code switching as justification for her false persona is not only misguiding, it's deeply insulting to people who generally live with and navigate multiple cultural identities. Real code switching is a nuance, authentic experience. It's a subtle dance we perform without even noticing. It's not an excuse to pick and choose cultural elements to create a fake identity. Hillary's attempt to defend herself by manipulating the legitimate experience of code switching only highlights her lack of respect for those who generally experience complexities of being multicultural. It trivializes the authentic struggles and natural adaptations of multilingual and multicultural individuals, like many of you in the comment section have told me, and like myself. So reducing genuine experiences to a superficial act she can slip in and out of when convenient? Oh my goodness. It is hilarious and inappropriate. Okay, so the bottom line here, pretending to forget your native language, creating a fake accent, and consistently misrepresenting your background is not code switching, it's exploitation. And Hilaria Baldwin exploiting a genuine well-studied social linguistic phenomenon to shield herself from legitimate criticism isn't just insulting, it's shameless. Watching Hillary twist the legitimate concept of code switching to defend her fake accent, oh my goodness, it is maddening. She's manipulative, calculated, and deeply disrespectful to those of us who truly navigate multiple cultures authentically each and every day. Honestly, Hilaria Baldwin and Meghan Markle have so much in common. Both craft and maintain a public persona that conveniently shift narratives depending on how they benefit. They both seem allergic to accountability, expertly deflecting criticism by adopting victim roles whenever they're questioned. You can see my face. I am just appalled. It's as if they've attended the same seminar on how to construct convincing yet entirely false personal brands. These women. So, in conclusion, while I'm entertained by the Baldwins openly addressing these bizarre contradictions, watching Hillary continue her charade, especially by weaponizing a 15-year-old genuine experience, is honestly exhausting and shameless. But hey, maybe Alec will eventually get his wish for privacy and this show will get canceled. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I want to know what you think about this show. I want to know what you think about Hilaria. Is she as shameless as I believe she is? Oh my goodness. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.